Hi and welcome to this new tutorial for the Moves for Dummies session. In this tutorial I'm going to demonstrate to you the Designation class and provide some practical examples how you can utilize the Designate class in order to create exciting missions. So I've set up this mission here in the NTTTR, the Nevada version of DCS World, and in this version I am stress testing the Designation class, and Designation is like a GTAG function that will start designating targets detected using a dynamic detection engine within the Moves framework, and will start lasing those targets or smoking them or illuminating them at night. And what we have here in this mission, we have here a couple of forward air controllers or JTAGs, right? So we got, and all of these forward air controllers start with the group name FAC, all right? And then I'm having, let me get to that later, let me go to the red ones. Then I'm having here a collection of randomly placed units of targets, right? And for conveniences, the JTAG units are being put weapon hold, right? They are invisible, and I could even put them destructible as well. And I'm setting for each of them a call sign, like this would be Mantis 1, right? Whiplash, and you can set the call sign using the call sign action. So command, so perform command, set call sign, and then here you set the call sign and a number, which you can then also increase, and that will create an index of whiplash. Right, so remember those, right? So my JTAGs have a call sign. I'm not positioning, normally in a mission editor, when you would set up a JTAG, you would, set up this, and then you would say, AFAC, and then you would start putting a target here, right? But it's not done this way. So this is a dynamic JTAG, let's call it, fully dynamically managed by the Moves system. And then I'm having here a couple of ground units, and these start with the name attack, and these are just for attacking reasons. So these could also be airplanes that would fly in and would lock on to certain laser codes like an A-10C or an Su-25T, and would fire off laser-guided missiles. But for the moment, I'm just using a ground unit, and the reason is it's very convenient to use ground units in terms of the FLIR or the night vision goggles, right? So that's that. Now what I'm going to demonstrate, I'm going through some multiple iterations running this mission, and I'm going to change a couple of things at each iteration. I'm not going to redevelop it completely, and I'm not going into the syntax yet. I want you to understand first what it is doing before I'm getting into the details. So one of the things that I've done is I've put a game master on the blue side, and these are my AFACs, right? And these are, just there. They are scanning, detecting for targets, and here are my targets. I'm going to jump in one of those, and of course it's night, you don't see a lot, except some cars driving there. And ta-ta, the world appears. So here are the AFACs which are being set invisible. Now normally you would set those up in the hills there, right? But for the moment, this is, just managed in this way. And there are my targets at 270 degrees. Yeah, somewhere a bit further away. So we have a command center. And the command center is coordinating the different targets that have been detected and are sending messages to the attack units in scope. And normally attack units, they could be ground units, but also planes, right? Occupied by players mostly. And these players that are in scope of the attack will receive messages, and the messages are coming from the headquarters, Designate, So what you see here is I'm having targets detected at an area 3. So depending on the detection algorithm that has been used for the mission, different groupings of detected units can happen in this way. In this case, the targets are grouped per area, and this is the coordinate of the area, so it would be bearing range 272 degrees for 1.93 kilometers, threat level 2, type 1, a BTR 80, which is a medium, well, a minor threat. One thing you need to understand is that when you have a lot of targets, right, like here, there would be a massive amount of units, you know, that would be detected, right? And as such, a massive amount of designations that would come in scope. And this would give problems in the menu. So when I get into the menu now, and I go to the radio menu, here, right? Then you see here, designate menu here. And depending on whether the designation is overall or within a mission, the designation can appear in the root menu, or it can appear within the command center mission menu, which is something that we'll need to demonstrate later. You see here a list now of 5 areas, and remember what I said, that there is a massive amount of detections could be done, and that's happening when you have a lot of targets. So there is a maximum limit on the amount of detections that can be incorporated in the scope of the designation. And the maximum is a parameter that can be set on the designate class, and the default is 5. So there are currently 5 areas being detected, and 5 areas are currently in scope. Now you can see here there is an option F1 which says auto lays on. There is a status menu, and then for each area that has been detected you see a menu option. Now let me go into menu option F3 here. In F3 now, so on one area, right, area 1, you see another of other options. You see, well, I don't want this target, area 1, I want to search for another target. If you press that, then the system will say, well, that's not a valid target, I'm going to search for another target, and another target will be gradually added. Or you can say, no, I want to lace this target for 60 seconds, or I want to lace this target for 120 seconds, or I want to smoke this target in red, blue, green, white, orange, or I want to illuminate this target. The target is bearing 233 for 134. Let us get to the map. Where would that be? 33. That would be here somewhere, right? So now I'm going to lace that target. So I'm going to designate area 1, and I'm going to lace the target. Now this is going to be interesting. Now there is a little error, yeah, in the 2.1 system, but not in the 1.5.7. That is that laser beams. So now I'm lasing it, but they seem to be black in the FLIR view. This is a new error that has been discovered, but I've reported it, and I hope that this will be fixed soon. I don't think this will be a major fix, I think, for DCS to do. And you can see the beam reaching to the target, and the target is illuminated with a green spot, so that's definitely working. Yeah. Also, you should see that that beam is not a static beam. That beam is continuously updated. So if the unit would move, then that beam would move as well. Yeah, that's also important. So let me get back into the menu now, and I do F10, and I go here. Let me show that here. Designate, right? Oh yeah, you see when it's beaming, then the call sign, remember the call sign of the forward air controllers, is saying that it is beaming this target with a certain code. And laser codes I will get back to later, because this is something I need to explain a bit better once we have the time for that. So I go back to designate, and you'll see now area 1 is a bit moved, but then you see here in the menu that there's an L, right? An L for lacing. So area 1 is being laced. Now I can do F6 and I can do then stop lasing. So now it's stopped. So let's get back to designate. Now you see that all of these are not lased anymore. Let me get to area number 3. And I'm going to do something else now. I'm going to illuminate a target. Illumination is, well, now the targets are quite near to each other, but when you have a larger area where targets are being spread out in a real battlefield, then this will become really handy. So we go into F9, I think. Yes, there it is. So now this area is being illuminated. What I want to do later is I would like to have an airborne plane that is in patrol and would actually drop illumination bombs from the plane in a coordination method. That would also be a useful thing to do, but you see as well the illumination bomb dropping here. So it's really like an illumination that's executed. You can do a status, so there's a status here. And you can ask for a status report for, let's say, 15 seconds. This will give you an overview of all of the targets that have been detected, right? And then here you see a list of the markings. And I think I will have to add the smoking in there as well, not just the lasing. Okay, so now let me get to auto lase. And auto lase is a very nice feature. So auto lase is really, I'm having 5 targets here. Now I would like to automatically lase those targets. So now I'm going to go to other and I'm doing designate and I'm putting auto lase on. And now you see here, a message appearing with all of this, with all of the call signs, and now you see here those beams, right? So you see now various targets within the battlefield are being beamed. Okay. Here, yeah. Right, so I'm having now a target that is currently being lased, and I'm going to destroy this target, and the auto lase is on. So you will see that the auto lase will automatically select a new target. That's been, so this one is now being destroyed, the lase is finished, and gradually a new target will be selected. And this is the power of the system. Auto lase is helping you to, quickly clean up a battlefield. Yeah, and there it is. So now it's here saying I am marking a new target. So that's the, this is really the beauty of this system. Yeah, it's auto lasing it. Okay, let me get to some other specifics now around designation and more about the design of the system. And I'm going back and I'm going to show you the scripting. This is the core scripting pattern that you would need to implement to set up a designation object. And the designation is listed here and takes 3 parameters which are mandatory and 1 parameter which is optional. Let's look again, as in the training, to the new constructor documentation set. So there you have a command center as a first parameter. So a command center is an object that is located on your mission, a real object, right? Here, which is a group, can also be a static. I always take some fortification like an armed house or a watchtower or a barrack or something, and I name it headquarters here. And this is your center of coordination of your missions or of your activities in your mission. That's that. So what I'm doing is I am retrieving a headquarters here. This is standard, so I'm using the group class find by name and then the name of the group as a string given as the only parameter of the find by name method of group, and gives me a headquarters or a group object that I'm storing in the headquarters variable. And then I'm creating a command center which is created from the command center class using the new method that is taking the headquarters group object as the first parameter, and I'm naming the command center headquarters, and the name will be used in messages that are sent to the players, so they will know that this message is coming from the command center. Let's get back to designation. We talked about command center, so that's the first parameter we can give, and the second parameter is a detection object, and the detection object is being created. We have detection classes within the Moose framework. For the moment I'm using the detection areas, and detection classes are taking care of the dynamic detection of units and group those units using different methods. Here we create groups of units in a parameter in zones, and I'm having here a radius of 50 meters where the grouping is being defined. So that means that any unit within 50 meters is being grouped. Now the chance that that happens is very slow, but if I take a larger value here, then that would, create groups of more units, and I will demonstrate this in a minute. But there's something else that is the first parameter of the new method of detection areas, which is an FAC object. And what is that? Well, that is a set of group objects, and you need to learn this a bit. I know this is a bit new, but this is really powerful. These are core classes of the Moose framework, and these allow to dynamically create, so there's a dynamism here that is being created, so dynamically forward air control groups can be created, and these all need to be starting with the FAC name. So if you go back to my mission, remember, so all of these here are the forward air controller groups starting with the name FAC03, FAC05, and so on. So these will be picked up by the set group class, searching for names FAC and dynamic filtering. So on a continuous basis, when FAC forward air controllers are being created or are being destroyed, then the FAC collection or object here will change dynamically during your mission. And this is given as a parameter here. So there's nothing difficult about it really. Just create a set group with these parameters here, put it in a FAC object here in a variable, and put that as a parameter to a detection class creation. And the last parameter of the designation is an attack object, and that is also very easy. It's again a set group of attack filters. And what is that? It's basically your attacking. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change the range. Remember, there were many detections done, but always there was one unit. Now I'm going to change this to a range of around, let's say, 750 meters. So the area grouping will change. So what I'm doing now is re-importing this script into my mission, designation, and TTR. Oh, let me give you an idea of the sizing. So 750 meters is around this. So that would mean that a couple of areas will be created. Not too much, I think around 6 or 7 of units being grouped of different types. Now for the moment they are all, and I've done this on purpose, they are all BTRs. So let me run this again. Right, so I'm in the mission now. I'm getting back into my vehicle, night vision on, and I'm already seeing a detection appearing here. And now you see that 8 BTRs are being detected. Let me get back to a designation menu here. I do a status report of around 15 seconds. And I see here, I'm going to stop those beams, because now what I'm going to do is to demonstrate to you the prioritization of targets. So all of those targets right now are BTR 80s, but what would happen if I go here and do some air defenses? Okay, so I'm back in the mission, and now you see I've put in some higher targets like this one. So let me get into one of those again, night vision. And let us look what we have now in the report of the designations. So when I do status report, now you see something different. So you see Detected targets, area 1, threat level 4. 5 units of type, an EWR, an infantry, and a BTR 80 and a BMP. There are 5 targets in this area. Area 2, 3 targets of BTR 80. Let him detect a bit more. Let's continue this detection a bit. 4, Estrella 8, and this is already a much higher threat level. In order to sort the lace targets per threat level, there is an API called Set Threat Level Prioritization. And that is a very easy API, and that takes a value through, and this will sort your targets per threat level. Right, so I'm back here. So I got this threat level here, Estrella 9. So when I go now and do auto lay, so I go here and I do designate and I do area 3 and lay 60 seconds. And now what you see is that the first target it's targeting is the Estrella 9, and then some less, so the order will change in the amount of targets that are being laced, and this is important. Yeah, so that's that. Let's talk about laser codes. Laser codes are quite difficult to set within the DCS World engine, because there's some specific algorithms that need to be followed. And with the help of Siribob, he helped me to define how the laser coding system works. And I don't want to, give you all of the complexity of setting those. So there is a method that has been created, and that is the generate laser codes method. And this will automatically generate for you all of the laser codes that are possible to be set. And the system will automatically select from that collection when it is auto-lasing one laser code, and will assign that laser code to the beam. This is one. The second is, if you really want to limit the amount of laser codes, then there is another method, and that is set laser codes here. And this becomes really handy. For example, for the SU-25, you want to have a laser code, I think it's 1113, right? And this is the laser code that only works with the SU-25T. Fortunately, in the documentation, I have been listing the laser codes, right, that work. So I have a collection of laser codes. So these are valid laser codes. So now I'm going to demonstrate for you target smoking. For this I'm changing the day to 8 o'clock in the morning. So a quick demo on smoking. Okay, master fly. Let me get here into one of these. Detection is going on. It's 249 has been detected somewhere here. Let me get into designation. Area. Smoke red. And the smoking will take about 5 to 15 seconds. There is one. Right. And there is the other one. So you see the area is quite big, and the smoking is never exactly on the unit, right? It's in the perimeter of the unit. So, I mean, that's clear, I think. I can smoke another one, but then I need more detections. Let me do that quickly. There is another one. Area, yeah. F4. I can smoke this blue. At 290, there's one smoked. Not all of the tanks are smoked. So this tank is smoked now. Yeah. So thanks. Let's go to the next step. Now there are two things I still need to demonstrate. The first thing is line of sight, and the second thing is missions. So the first thing we want to test is the line of sight, and for this I'm having here a couple of vehicles that are going to drive behind this hill. I'm having my forward air controllers here grouped, and there will be a moment when they get out of sight. When they get out of sight, they will not immediately inform you. They will wait about a minute until this whole group is really out of sight, and they will say, well, I lost control, I lost them. And then they will report. So I'm going to jump in this vehicle and I'm going to watch them drive behind the hill and watch the message line of sight appear. 3 BTRs, 107, 49 degrees, right? So this is the group. I'm going to speed up a bit so you see them driving behind the mountains, and as I said, the forward air controllers here will not immediately inform we lost control. They will report after a while. It can be that one vehicle comes back, yeah. So now you see targets are out of line of sight, and this was the threat and the group. And then as a result you can see that in the designate menu that area has been removed, and it's also removed from the status reports. Same with lasing, of course. And with lasing it goes faster. So with lasing, if there's an active lasing ongoing, then the targets, when they get out of sight, the lasing will immediately stop when that happens. Yeah. So keep that in mind. The next thing I promised to talk about is missions, and this is actually quite easy as well. Let's create a mission 1, and missions are logical missions within a mission file. So I just create a mission. I need my command center, I need a mission name, test for example, I need a priority high, I need a mission briefing, and I need a mission coalition. So this is my coalition side blue. Yeah. Now, since I have that mission in my designate object, and especially in the new object, when you click on that, you'll see a 4th parameter, which is optional, which says mission. What I can do, I can give this mission here, my mission 1 there. And if I run now my mission again, now when I click on this and I do a radio menu, you see I don't have a designate menu, but it's under command center now, under the mission test high. And here I can use my designation again. And the reason for that is fantastic. So you can set up logical missions within your mission file, right? You can create multiple designation objects for multiple missions that you define. This is the power of the Moose framework. So instead of having one script file and you just configure some fields, the Moose framework allows you to do more. It allows you to combine things, right? Let me keep this mission file here, just for the joke. But what I can do now is, let's say I have 2 planes. I have an attack A10, C, and I have 2 types of planes. I have attack A10C and I have attack SU25T, right? So I typed it out a bit. What you see now is I'm having 2 different attack groups, A10C and SU25T. I have set up 2 designate objects, one using the attack 10C and one using the SU25T within the same mission. And my threat level prioritization here is switched off and here switched on. And the laser code is here 1113, and here it's the generated laser codes, which are generic. Right, so in the mission I added this SU25T. It has a name attack SU25T, so that will belong to the set as defined here, SU25T, and that is then added here into this designate object. That is working with the code 1113. So let me jump into the plane, and also bear in mind I am just doing this for demonstration, so don't shoot me if you see something you don't like about my flying style or anything. So there you see the designate whiplash marking a BTR with his laser designator. I need to override the missile manual. Select the laser guided missile and fire. and that's gonna go very nicely towards the target. Well, if he wants it. Again, override. Let's do that. Yeah, target hits. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I wish you to meet each other at the next video session. Bye bye.